What is going on, guys? It is Bucky, of course. Why do I say that? Like you would be expecting someone else. Anyways, it's Bucky, and welcome to your 51st Objective-C tutorial. In this tutorial, we are finally getting into the good stuff, and yes, I'm talking about frameworks. Now, no matter how hard you think about it, a framework is not the process of building picture frames. So get that out of your head. What a framework is it's pretty much the built-in classes and methods that come I guess, installed in Objective-C, and they're there to make your programming life easier. For example, when we import the foundation framework, the most common built-in method we use is nslog to print stuff out. That's a method that we didn't have to make, it came built in. But the cool thing is, Foundation not only has that method, but it has hundreds more just built in. So again, a framework is built-in classes and methods. Another framework that you guys might be familiar with is the application framework, and this has methods for things like creating menus and toolbars and windows and stuff. And a little point of interest: if you are developing on the Mac, you probably heard the term Cocoa a bunch. Cocoa, like chocolate. What Cocoa is pretty much the application and foundation framework. So it's pretty much just a bunch of classes that you import and methods. It's nothing special. So I don't know, just kind of nickname, I guess. So you see, we imported this foundation framework right here, and this pretty much imports a bunch of different methods. So it would be, I don't know, not easier, but it would be better program practice to import only the classes we need, because this includes a bunch of different classes or header files. But this is a lot easier, and for typing on this little screen on YouTube, I like to only import one thing, so this would do for now. But if you're building a program, you should only import what you need. So let's go ahead and get to the tutorial. Now, the tutorial is about objects from these classes. So we're going to be building number objects, but check this out. We built int and floats before, and I spelled float wrong, irrelevant. But the thing is, these are pretty much just data types. We need actual objects. These are not objects. You can't call a method on int like int x, do this method. So what we need to be able to do sometimes is treat numbers like objects. So let's go ahead and do that right now, and I'll show you how. The built-in class NSNumber is the one you need to use when creating objects. So I'm going to make two objects, one named BuckyInt and one named, let's see, Bucky Float. And I don't name it like number int, because we want to be able to distinctively see what our object is. There's nothing built in Objective-C named Bucky. I built that. I did it with my own hands. And anyways, let's go ahead, and we just created two objects pretty much. Now let's go ahead and assign them to something. So let's go ahead and take Bucky int, and what we need to do is we need to set it equal to a initialization method built in from the NSNumber class. And what this pretty much does is pretty much creates this object. So let's go NSNumber. Whoa, I definitely typed that way off. NSNumber, and this is a class right here, NSNumber. And in this class, there is a built-in method to create integer objects, and this is number with integer right there. It already typed it in for us. Oh, and a bunch of extra crap too. Thanks, Objective-C, you're the best. So what this method does is it lets you assign a value to your object. So let's go ahead and assign something simple like 100. So now this BuckyInt object, remember, it's not a variable. It's an object with a starting value of 100. So this is the method that you need to use. And check this out. What about for this float? Do you use the same method? No, I don't think so. So Bucky float, each type of data or each type of object has its own specific method. So NSNumber, whenever you want to create a float object, it's number with float. And for the float value, put like 145. And remember, float's just an integer with the decimal point like 67 or something like that. So now we have an integer object and a float object. Now, I cannot stress this enough. These are not integers. These are not variables. So check this out. ns log at, if we go ahead and, put percent %i, and you're like, oh, Bucky int. This is just like, a regular variable. So let's go ahead and type Bucky int, and let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. Check this out. We get 101,084,736. WTF is that? That is because this is an object, not an integer. So maybe that made it clear that, this is an object, that's the objects. Don't even worry about what that is. But anyways, you can't do that. Now, what I do want to teach you guys is, in order to retrieve that value and store it in an integer, or excuse me, an integer variable, here's what you need to do. Say we actually want to store that value in an integer called like x. So int x, of course, and go ahead and take that object, Bucky int, and in order to retrieve the value, it has built-in special retrieval methods. So in order to retrieve a value from a integer object, you put integer value. This is also a built-in method. We don't have to create this. It's already built in. It's a method specifically designed to retrieve the value. So in order to take the value of float and store it in a variable called y, remember, you want to make a float variable, not an integer one, or else you're going to get messed up stuff. Take your float object, Bucky float, and the special method for this is float value. And again, these methods, you don't have to memorize them. There's usually a table you can just look at. But I'll put this source code in the link below, and if someone can find a link to that table, just put it in. I just know these by heart. So now we can go ahead and, since we retrieve those values and actually put them in a variable, we can do stuff like this. nslog %i, and remember %f for float. And now let's go ahead and x and y. So now if you build and run this, save it, hopefully I don't get any errors. Check it out. 100 and 145. It should be 0.67, but this is how your computer stores numbers. We'll learn how to fix that later on, but I mean, it's close enough. So that's that for this tutorial. If you want any of the source code, actually go get the source code. Click on the link below and make sure to sign up for my forum. It's pretty awesome. So thank you guys for watching. And any questions, or if anyone has that link, please post it in my forum. I'll thank you 100 times. But we'll be clearing this up in the next tutorials to come. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.